Family mobbing, what it is and how it happens. Hi, I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and in this video, we're going to talk about a form of collective family abuse that most people don't even know has a name: family mobbing. Family mobbing is what happens when multiple members of a family begin to target, isolate, or delegitimize one person. It's not about one bad relationship or a single difficult person. It's about a group behavior that functions like an unspoken alliance against the targeted individual. This isn't overt violence. Most of the time, it's quiet, strategic, emotional, and completely denied by the group. Let's start with a clear definition. Family mobbing is the collective targeting of one family member through emotional abuse, exclusion, and false consensus. The group may not call it abuse. They may frame it as concern or just how the family is. But the net effect is this: one person is treated as if they are the problem, and their reality is either erased or consistently reinterpreted. Family mobbing differs from ordinary family conflict in one essential way. It's not a disagreement. It's not an argument between two relatives or a personality clash. It is a sustained group effort, whether conscious or subconscious, to remove one person from the inner emotional circle. It's a pattern of coordinated behavior. And it results in a kind of systemic erasure. The person being mobbed starts to disappear not physically, but emotionally. Their voice is dismissed. Their character is questioned. Their presence becomes uncomfortable to the group, and the group responds by reinforcing that discomfort through behavior. Let's talk about the actual mechanics of how this plays out. The first layer is emotional signaling. These are the small, consistent, nonverbal cues that convey rejection without confrontation. It might be eye rolls when you speak, sudden silence after you share an opinion, or the way family members glance at each other when you enter a room. These cues communicate one message: you're not welcome here. You're not safe to be yourself. Then there are echoed insults framed as concern. Statements like, "We're just worried about you," or "You've been acting off lately," can sound like care. But often they're not. They're emotional weapons designed to undermine your credibility. These comments imply there is something wrong with you, but when you push back, the group says, "We're just trying to help." That framing makes it difficult to confront the underlying aggression without looking irrational. Inside jokes are another tactic. Everyone at the table is laughing about something from a group chat you weren't included in. They reference shared experiences you were excluded from, but they act like it's no big deal. When you ask, they say, "Oh, it was last minute," or "We didn't think you'd be interested." The result is the same. You're outside the circle. There's also silent agreement with bad behavior. Someone makes a harsh, critical comment about you. You look around. No one defends you. Some laugh. Others look away. This is not neutrality. It's passive endorsement. The group's silence amplifies the insult. It's not just what one person said. It's what everyone else failed to do. Let's now walk through some concrete, hyper-relatable examples. You're at a family gathering. Someone makes a remark about how you've always been the dramatic one. Everyone chuckles. You laugh awkwardly but feel humiliated. Later, you bring it up. They say you're too sensitive, that it was just a joke. This kind of gaslighting turns your pain into a performance issue. You become the one who can't take a joke. Or it's your birthday. You find out later that a bunch of relatives went out to dinner to celebrate and you weren't invited. They say it was spontaneous. They say it wasn't planned. But it's the third time this year that you've been forgotten. You start to internalize a message: you don't belong. Or maybe you were once included in the family group chat, but after a disagreement or a boundary you set, you're quietly removed. No one tells you. You just stop getting messages. When you ask, someone says, "Oh, we made a new thread. Didn't we add you?" The message isn't said outright, but it's delivered clearly. You're no longer part of the group identity. Family mobbing often begins with one person, usually the narcissist or dominant figure in the family, framing the scapegoat as a problem. This doesn't always look dramatic. It can begin subtly. "I'm just worried about her. He's been so off lately. I think she's going through something." These aren't overt attacks. They're tone-setting statements. They create a lens. And once that lens is introduced, the rest of the group begins to view the scapegoat through it. This brings us to the psychology behind mobbing. It's about group conformity. Families, like all social systems, regulate themselves through internal norms. When one person violates those norms by growing, healing, speaking up, or setting boundaries, they threaten the emotional equilibrium. And the group often responds with defense, not because they're evil, but because the system prefers stability over truth. That's why the scapegoat is usually the one asking questions, the one going to therapy, the one breaking generational cycles. Ironically, the scapegoat is often the most self-aware person in the group. But the system doesn't see awareness as a virtue, it sees it as a disruption, so it mobilizes. Family mobbing isn't always loud. Sometimes the most violent acts are social: exclusion, erasure, narrative distortion. You hear that you've changed, that you're angry all the time, that everyone's worried about you. These aren't objective statements, they're emotional codes. And they're used to justify the group's mistreatment of you. Over time, this collective behavior creates a consensus reality. If enough people say you're unstable, it starts to feel true even if there's no evidence. You begin to doubt your memory, your reactions, your instincts. This is how emotional manipulation becomes identity damage. You're not just excluded from family events. You're excluded from shared reality. And the worst part? There's no smoking gun, no single incident to point to, no dramatic moment you can hold up as proof. It's 1,000 subtle gestures, conversations, and omissions that form a pattern. And when you try to explain it, people outside the system say, "Are you sure you're not just overreacting?" This is why family mobbing is so hard to talk about. It's deniable, it's indirect, and it's often framed as care. But make no mistake, it is abuse. It is organized harm disguised as family dynamic. And it runs on silence. The silence of the group, the silence of outsiders, and eventually the silence of the target, who gives up trying to be heard. So let's say it clearly. Family mobbing is real. It is not your fault. And if it's happening to you, the first step to healing is recognition. In future videos, we'll break down how to spot the signs of mobbing early, how to emotionally protect yourself, and how to dismantle the internalized beliefs that keep you tied to a system designed to reject you. The fact that they have to gang up on you means you're not weak. It means you're different. It means you stopped playing the role. And that's not a failure. That's a breakthrough. You're not imagining it. You're not overreacting. You're just waking up to a truth they were hoping you'd never name. Hi, I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and what you just watched is part of my signature program, the Chosen One series inside School of Soul. This series is not just a course, it's a blueprint for those who know they were different from the start. The black sheep, the scapegoat, the truth teller, the cycle breaker. Inside, you'll discover the family roles playbook, the golden child, the scapegoat, the enabler, the lost child, and how to finally step out of the part you were cast in without consent. How the black sheep becomes the goat, turning rejection into radical transformation and leadership. How to break generational curses and rewrite ancestral contracts so the pain stops with you. And how to recognize and escape modern forms of spiritual and technological targeting, from gang stalking to synthetic synchronicity. This isn't just about survival. It's about awakening, about reclaiming your voice, your lineage, and your destiny as one of the chosen ones. Click the link below to access the full series now, because the role ends the moment you decide it does, and the real script begins with you.